This is Secret America.
Welcome, everybody. I am Jack Danger along with Jay Gatling. And as you probably already know, Hillary Clinton testified today in a closed-door deposition. Of course, it's a closed-door deposition. Why would they do it in front of the public? It's only, in America's public interest. It's only in the public interest. Why would you show that? But so she was apparently testifying about her connections with Epstein. And it's funny because we talked about the Guthrie kidnapping, right? We talked about the Guthrie kidnapping, and we said that, at least I said that this could be possibly have something to do with her depositions and the whole Epstein thing, and that they were going to hold her, or at least if she's dead, they're not going to show her until after the depositions. So how much you want to bet either Guthrie or her dead body shows up in the next 7 days?
That would be pretty interesting, wouldn't it? And you'd be proven right, and I wouldn't be surprised. Hillary Clinton, she did come out after, and I saw like a 15-second snippet, Jack. If you want to find it, it's on X. She just basically says, I never met Epstein. They were asking me questions about pizza. Something.
Yeah, she said, I don't recall ever encountering Mr. Epstein. But that's not true, is it, Jay?
I don't believe it for a second. Hillary Clinton, as the first lady, everybody would say Hillary Clinton was pretty involved. I think she was, because I think she was tasked with overhauling our entire healthcare system, which was a huge fail at that time. Well, it still is. She didn't even get it through legislation or anything, but she was given that task. She was a very influential and powerful first lady, without a doubt. Hillary Clinton, a lot of people say, ran the White House. She was always there. She was a tyrant. She wasn't a nice person, this and that. Jeffrey Epstein was at the White House, I believe, 17 times that they have documented, 1993, 1995. I find it impossible that Hillary Clinton never met Jeffrey Epstein and didn't know who he was. I just don't find it possible. He was also at a donors dinner where I think he donated $10,000 or $20,000 in 1993. I believe wasn't he also, but Maxwell was at a wedding. Was that at Chelsea Clinton's wedding? Am I right on that?
Yes. Maxwell was at Chelsea Clinton's wedding, and they knew Epstein very well. I mean, that's clearly a lie. And I think what they should do, and what they could do, but what they won't do, is find a picture with her with Epstein. I'm sure there's a picture out there with her with Epstein, and then they could charge her with perjury. They won't. They would never do that. Not only does she have the dirt on everybody, but she kills everybody. Allegedly. Excuse me, for the lawyers out there, she allegedly kills everybody, or at least has them kill themselves, right?
Well, and also you notice she's very careful. I don't recall. She's not saying I never did. I just don't recall. I mean,
well, that's the best way to do it. That's when you're a practiced liar. When you say words like that, because you can always say, no, I didn't recall it at the time. Now I remember. Thank you for showing me that picture. Sure, I remember that, but no, I didn't recall it at the time. That's the best way to lie your way out of a deposition or anything where you're under oath. I don't recall. Not to my recollection.
Right, exactly. But you're not lying, but you're just not telling the whole truth. And at the same time, I think there might actually be a public hearing after this closed door deposition. They might bring them out kind of like they did with Jack Smith. Her husband, Bill Clinton, a former president, obviously still has to go. And then maybe we'll see Bill Clinton at an open hearing. But you know what? These open hearings, they've become nothing more, in my opinion, than theater, where these congressmen and women who are asking the questions on both sides are using them to raise campaign funds. They're basically campaign commercials. They want to get that viral YouTube clip where their question goes and they could use it to fundraise off of it. That's all it's become. Nothing it's dragged out in handcuffs the way you or I would if they caught us lying in front of them. It's just not going to happen. It will be, of course, fun to watch. We'll get a lot of material out of it. Everybody will be talking about it. But is anything really going to come of Hillary Clinton or Bill Clinton testifying in front of Congress, whether in public or behind closed doors? I'm not holding my breath. Are you?
No, I'm not holding my breath either. I'm sorry. We're having some strange technical difficulties here, Jay. Did you check the Rumble thing? It doesn't, I don't know if it's streaming to that. Notice that our stuff's not up there?
Yeah, I don't see it.
Man, there's always so many technical. I tell you.
We're on Rumble.
You see it now?
Yeah, we're on Rumble. If I go to Rumble and actually go to the live feed, if I click on it, we're on.
I'm talking about LFA TV.
Yeah, we're on the LFA TV feed.
Okay. Well, for some reason it doesn't have our thing up there, so I don't know if anybody even knows we're on. But anyways, thank you. Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, for telling me that. I swear we have had so many technical difficulties over the last few weeks, especially with X and Rumble, and it's just so crazy. But anyways, with Hillary Clinton, it's obvious, and I would love to see. You know what? I didn't know I would like for you to look up, Jay, and see if there is going to be an open door session after all this. If you can find that, because if that's the case, then Guthrie may not show up for another couple of weeks. But I'm thinking that she's going to show up. I think she's already dead, to be honest with you. But either her body's going to show up or she's going to show up after the Clinton stuff is done within 7 days.
Yeah, no, I think once it's done completely, yes, I agree. Now, right, if there's going to be an open in Congress, public kind of thing, like I just said, will be a lot of theater and viral moments. Yeah, it'll have to wait for after that. It says right now, no, there will not be an open public deposition for Hillary Clinton. Her deposition took place today. It says yesterday. Grok, really? Grok says her deposition took place yesterday, February 26, 2020. I can't. Today is 2020, the 26th. And right now it says the session was filmed and transcribed as negotiated in advance, lasted 6 hours. She delivered an opening statement. Lauren Boebert leaked a photo from inside the room, violating the rules. Hillary and her team briefly demanded the room be open to reporters, but the committee kept it closed and continued. Afterwards, Hillary told reporters she wished it had been public and said, "I'm not going to do it again." There we are.
Man, I mean, I'm sorry, man. I'm still trying to work through a lot of the technical difficulties. It's even on X too.
Yeah, here's the thing. On Rumble, if you just go to the LFA TV page, there is nothing showing on the live screen.
There's nothing showing that we're even there.
Yeah, but if you click on the live and breaking news on Rumble, you will then see our show.
Yeah, if you click on somebody else's stuff, then you'll see us.
Yes, correct.
All right. But see, the worst thing is the X thing, though. That's what's happening here, man, because nobody can comment or anything. Apparently, under when you do a comment under it, it doesn't come on. So I don't know what's going on. Anyways.
Yeah, I'm looking at the Secret America page right now on X, and it is up there, but you're saying that comments aren't working? Yeah,
well, that's what I'm hearing. That's what I'm getting messages about, that people are trying to comment on there, and they can't. That's why we don't. Deborah says she's on X, and she's able to comment on there or do the live chat. So anyways, let's just move on. So I want to tell you something. You know why this generation, the upcoming generation, is less intelligent than most? And it's not just the educations that they're getting, the liberal educations, and it's not just the ridiculous standardized tests that they don't even do anymore or really have any kind of actual education. But you know what the real reason is? I want you to check this out. This is why the next generation is not nearly as smart as we would like it to be. Look at this right here. Okay, it says that heavy short form video use has been linked to reduce frontal brain activity and poorer focus. According to a new study, if you're constantly scrolling through videos on TikTok, Instagram, and you do that all the time, it will actually mess with your intelligence, your frontal brain, and your focus. And that's why I think that Generation X is having some serious intellectual issues, if you ask me.
Well, Generation X or Generation Z or the millennials.
Whatever the newest generation is. I don't even there's so many letters these days, I don't keep track of it.
I'm Gen X. You would be, I believe, a late millennial.
Honestly, I don't keep track of that shit. I said Gen X because it sounds cool.
No, it is cool because I'm Gen X. Gen X is the coolest generation, just so you know.
Wait a minute, you're not the greatest generation ever?
No, that would be World War II, Jack. I'm not that old.
You weren't in World War II?
No, I just missed it.
Just by a hair, right?
Just by a little bit. But no, that would make listen, I think all of our attention spans have been affected by the way things are now, where we just want instant gratification.
Oh,
We're
absolutely.
looking-
But as you get older, though, these kids that are growing
Yes.
and doing that, it's really messing with their intelligence and their focus and everything.
Correct.
You wonder why ADHD prescription medication is through the roof now.
That's the thing, because at least like when we grew up, we weren't exposed to this. So we kind of had to do things the old fashioned way. You actually might've had to read a book. You had to do a little research. You had
a lot
to wait
more
a little
fun
while.
back then.
Right now it's like these kids, they just don't have to wait for anything, and everything they're getting are short form kind of videos where they get an instant payoff within 30 seconds to a minute and a half. And I definitely think it's having an effect, whether it is the frontal lobe, whatever. That's for people above my pay grade. But there's definitely something going on, and I think the effects that we're going to see long term, we have no clue yet. But short term, it doesn't look good. I can't even imagine what long term is going to look like.
No, it doesn't look good at all. And that's why I said it looks like, all the ADHD diagnosis these days, the medication through the roof. But the thing is that, it's messing with their intelligence because it is messing with their focus. See, nowadays you can find out anything instantly. All you have to do is Google it. So you don't remember anything. If you find something out instantly, it's not going to be something you remember. You'll spit it out and then that's it. See, back in our day when there wasn't the cell phones and all that, you actually had to go and look for something if you wanted to know about it, in a book or in the encyclopedia or your teacher or whatever it is. If you wanted to find out about it, you had to search for it, and it took a little while. So when you saw it, you remembered it. But nowadays, it's so instant, you don't remember shit. You just rely on Google for everything.
Correct. And it's getting easier and easier with AI. I mean, when you used to have to find something, I remember having to go to the library and look at microfilm. I mean, that was really, I mean, you had to, I remember the Dewey Decimal System. Now, if you told me to use the Dewey Decimal System right now, I probably couldn't do it because I don't remember that. But we had to learn it, and it taught you how to kind of research, right? When you wrote a paper, you had to put the notes, you had to do where you got the sources from and all that stuff. I don't know. I'm glad that we had to learn how to do that, because it definitely helped our brains develop. It definitely helped us, I think, be maybe a little more patient and actually appreciate a payoff.
Absolutely.
I don't know how these kids, and I have a couple of them, how it's going to affect them long term. I just tell my kids, I say, at this point, when you get a job, and they have jobs, not their careers yet, but I say, be on time, actually be a little early. And when your boss asks you to do something, do it. I said, that alone is going to make you stand out with the Gen Z, with that generation.
So yeah, no, you're absolutely right. The no internet times, I think, were the best. And that's why I say that the 90s was the last great decade. At the turn of the millennium, that's when it started to go downhill. I remember as a child just having so much fun. All you had to do was be home before dark. When the street lights come on, that's when you got to be home. Otherwise, you're out playing outside. You're climbing trees, you're exploring whatever, you're swimming in the lake, whatever it is. Nowadays, kids stay in their room. When they get home from school, stay in their room, on their phone, on their computer, whatever it is. They go to school, come back, stay in their room. But that's that we could beat a dead horse, but it's going to be like that. It's only going to get worse, Jay. But I want to go ahead. You got something to say?
No, I'm just going to say, nobody was looking for us. Nobody's looking for us because you couldn't find us anyway. There was no way to get us. It was, I'll see you when you get home. I mean, there was no phone.
Exactly. It was a lot more fun, I think.
Yeah, nobody was looking for you. There was nobody like that had a tracker on you. You just went out, and your mom or your dad said, hey, be home, like you said, when the street lights come on. We'll see you later.
The only thing I don't miss is when you really need to get a hold of somebody and you call their landline and they're not there. You have no other way to reach them. That's the only thing I don't miss. There were times when I wanted to get a hold of somebody badly and they weren't home. And if they're not home, that's it. You ain't getting them.
Yeah, but I think back then we just accepted it because that's just the way it was. Now
you had to. There's no other choice. I mean, you had to accept.
Right. Now it would drive you crazy. Like, what do you mean you're not picking? Like, now it's like if somebody texts you and they don't get you don't get back to them within like 5 minutes. Like, hey, what's going on?
Exactly. I feel nowadays, and it is that way. You text somebody. I feel weird if they don't text back within like 5 minutes. I'm like, whoa, man. I mean, what's going on here? We are such an instant gratification society now.
Exactly. I mean, you're like, wait, are they mad at me? Did I do something wrong?
There you go. Exactly. You can feel it. You can feel it over the phone, Jay. Right. All right. Okay. So I want to move on to something that is crazy as hell. All right. You remember the Bohemian Grove? You remember how Alex Jones infiltrated the Bohemian Grove in at the turn of the century, early 2000s? The Bohemian Grove is the place where all of the elites gather. Okay. And they meet there and they do all their secretive shit. And it's where they have that really weird ceremony with the robes and the fire and the owl, the big wooden owl. You know what I'm talking about? I'm going to show you. I'm going to show everybody exactly what I am talking about. Take a look at this. Look at this right here, okay? This right here is what I'm talking about. That's the wooden owl right there. But guess what? The super secretive Bohemian Grove Society members, their list was leaked today. Okay, so and it's actually in New York Post says it's a who's who of celebrity elite. So let's check it out. Let's see who's on this list that matters. See, now I have the actual list here from Substack. This is the guy that got the list leaked to him. His name is Dan Boguslaw. Whoa, that's a weird last name. Boguslaw. Wow. Okay, but I didn't expect that. I guess I didn't see it before. But anyways, the list is on here, right here. You can hit download and check it out. This is the whole list. Now, we're not going to go through the whole list because it's a long list, and most of these people you're not going to know. And that's why, Jay, I have always said that you will not know the people that run the country or run the world, that are in the globalist cabal. You know what I mean?
You have a screen, Jack?
Yeah, I'm about to put it up right now.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So
this is the list right here. Okay.
There you go.
The Bohemian Grove. You see this right here? This was their member list. Now you can go through this, and like I said, most of these people, you're not going to know who the hell they are. And that's why, Jay, I have always said, like I said a minute ago, I have always said that the people that actually run the world, the people that are in the actual cabal, are people you have never heard of. You will not know their names, because if they're smart, then that's the case. You know, if they're stupid, then they're going to let you know who they are. But I'm going to go ahead and make it easy for everybody. And I'm going to pull up I'm going to see if I can pull up a place where we can just see the list itself. There's so many ads on these things. You know what I mean? It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Okay. Here we go right here. I'm going to show you who's on here that actually matters for our purposes. People that we might actually know. Okay. I'm going to pull that up right here. Check this out. Here it is. So in politics, okay, we got Paul Pelosi, venture capitalist, obviously husband of U.S. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi. Edwin Meese, you know, he's a former U.S. Attorney General under Reagan. Bobby Inman, retired 4-star admiral, former director of the NSA. Carlos Bea, judge for the U.S. Court of Appeals in the Ninth Circuit. He's still a judge. James Baker, former Secretary of State and Secretary of Treasury. Look at this. Edwin Fjellner, founder of the Heritage Foundation and influential architect of conservative policy. You got Charles Koch. You know the Koch Industries. That's incredible. Billionaire CEO. Riley Beckel, billionaire heir. The Fisher brothers. They are all huge. They founded Gap. William Draper, venture capitalist. Mike Bloomberg is in there. Everybody knows Mike Bloomberg, former mayor of New York City. You've even got Eric Schmidt, okay? He's the former CEO of Google, now the executive chairman of Alphabet. That is the company that owns Google. Look at this crazy shit. Tim Draper, founder of, he's a prominent cryptocurrency investor. I mean, this is insane stuff. Those are the people that really matter. Those are the people that you're going to know. But Jay, let me tell you that most of the people, 99% of those people, nobody knows who they are, because those are the real people that run everything.
Yeah, those people could walk by you on the street. You have no idea who they are. Absolutely. 100%.
Exactly. And that's the way they want it. That's the way it's meant to be that way.
Yeah, 100%. I don't like it when you have a bunch of people like that, no matter who they are, getting together in one place at the same time.
Why are they doing that?
Well, I'm going to ask you.
You got former Secretary of State Henry Kissinger, okay? Clint Eastwood, even Clarence Thomas is a frequent guest of this, and it doesn't make any sense to me, because, the craziest thing they do is that cremation of care ceremony, okay? It says the club is famous for its cremation of care ceremony, high-level networking, and is long rumored to have been acting as a social club for the powerful. But cremation of care is that one where they're in the robes and they go up to the owl. I'm going to try to pull up the picture bigger so everybody can see it. Let me pull this up right here. This is the owl right here. All right, that's the wooden owl. They got the robes on, the fire around it. Check that out. That is the cremation of care. And it's insane. Okay, it's a series of camps at the Bohemian Grove, and it says it's an ultra secretive retreat for the country's wealthiest and most powerful men. These are the people that run America, and you've never heard of them.
Yeah, that picture is a little ominous, to be honest. It looks like they're wearing those things called a Snuggie. Everybody remember those infomercials with the
That's
Snuggie?
what it is. It's a Snuggie with a hood.
I remember those. And I remember when those commercials came out, I'm like, these people look like cult members. And this was an old picture. I was looking at that. That's an old picture. That's from 1800s.
Well, the Bohemian Grove, believe it or not, this has been going on since 1872. That tells you how secretive this shit. There's Jimmy Buffett. He's there. He's one of the people.
Yeah.
Joe Biden awards the Medal of Freedom to Michael Bloomberg. Come on. I mean, Clarence Thomas, that was surprising to me. Clarence Thomas being there because he's on our side.
Yeah, we love Clarence. We love Clarence Thomas.
Oh, I love Clarence Thomas. Yeah. But hey, maybe he's in there just to, be I don't know. Maybe he's in there to spy on him.
Maybe.
All I can say is I hope so.
I don't like when you get a bunch of people this powerful together in the same room. Nothing good of that comes out of it for us. Anyway, that's what I think.
If they're already rich and powerful, why would they need to network with each other to get more? They already know each other, Jay. All of these people that are rich and powerful, they run in the same elite circles. Okay, it's the same people all the time. They know each other. So why the hell do they get together in the woods for an ultra secretive, camp out? It doesn't make any sense. And then they pray to a wooden owl with robes on in front of a fire. That's weird.
It's like that thing, like the puppet, like with the chessboard, like all these people like are above us.
Very weird.
It's very weird. Where Deborah's asking, where is it located? California?
It's in California. The Bohemian Grove is in California. Yes. It's they do it right around the redwoods. Okay, it's around the redwoods. In fact, I'm going to show you something right here. This right here, I'm gonna show you this right here because it's really cool. Let me pull it up. All right, this right here is a map that they made for their people. It shows, it's in Sonoma County, California, the Bohemian Grove. It's the owl's eye view of the Bohemian Grove. It's a drawing they made. It's got the little things in it. You're supposed to be able to bring it closer. That doesn't really do anything. Supposed to be able to bring it close. It doesn't matter. But that's the owl right there, and you can see everything that's going on. If you want to screenshot that, whoever's watching, if you want to screenshot that, zoom in, you'll be able to see everything that they talk about. But that is the Bohemian Grove in Sonoma County, California, Jay.
Well, someplace we'll never be invited to. That's for sure.
Oh, speak for yourself. I'm going to be a billionaire when this podcast goes national. I'm going to be a billionaire, and I am getting right into the Bohemian Grove. And the thing is, not only am I going to get into the Bohemian Grove, but I am going to make sure that I am with them. I'm going to forget all about my values and morals, and I am going to join them and have a lot of fun running the world.
All right. Well, you can go for both of us because I'm staying here.
Oh, but you better believe that I'm going to have the NSA keep tabs on you.
I'm not going.
I'll have the NSA keep tabs on Jay. Make sure that he's not doing anything that he's not supposed to.
Who says you're not doing that already? I don't know.
Well, you never know. You never know. Yeah,
this is true.
I do have your internet history right here.
There you go. It's real. Quite honestly, it's pretty boring, everybody. There's really not much there. Nothing that's going to surprise you. I'm sorry. I wish it was more exciting.
Real quick, guys. I want to say real quick, if everybody would please make sure to follow us, subscribe and follow on X, YouTube, Rumble, Kick, Instagram, TikTok. It's all Secret America TV. That is the name, Secret America TV. It's at all of them. X, YouTube, Rumble, Kick, Instagram, TikTok, all Secret America TV. And we are live every weekday, Monday through Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern. In fact, we've got something special for you tomorrow. Tomorrow, Anna K. Lucas is going to join, and she's going to share her story of being sold as a child sex slave by her family to a pedophile network. And this kind of meshes with the whole Epstein thing, because that is exactly what, what happened to her is exactly what happened to everybody, in the whole Epstein thing, Jay. I mean,
I can't wait.
Yeah.
Can't wait. And we'll have her for the full hour, I believe, correct?
Oh, yeah. Not only are we going to have her for the full hour, but we're going to let her talk most of the time because her story, we're just going to let her tell her story. And I can promise you that is something you are going to want to tune into tomorrow because it is unbelievably interesting. I mean, that's why she's, a best-selling author and all these other things, because the things that happened to her were not only real, but they're so unbelievable that they will shock you. Things these days that you've seen, we've become very desensitized to things now because of all the crazy shit we've seen. But let me tell you, the things that happened to her, they will shock you. And I told her tomorrow that she can talk in no censorship and no time limits. I mean, obviously we got an hour, but I mean, like, we're not going to stop her if it goes over an hour. It is what it is. We're not going to try to stop her. But the no censorship thing is the big thing. I told her, we want to have every single detail that you want to give, that you're comfortable giving. Tell us what happened, because I listened to one of the videos of her where she told, a little bit about it, like a 10, 20-minute video. It is more unbelievable than you can possibly imagine.
Yeah, well, probably if you have kids, take them out of the room, or put their earmuffs on or whatever when you hear some of the stuff. Powerful people involved, obviously, as well, that she's going to talk about.
Very powerful.
Yeah, and as you'll see, as Jack said, it meshes with everything that's going on now. So yeah, can't wait to hear that. Hear her story tomorrow night, 7:00. Yep, going to be great.
That's going to be it's going to be really, really interesting. I'll tell you that much. And I can tell you that one of the people that she was sold to in the pedophile network is the former prime minister of Belgium. So we're talking very powerful people here. So and it does mesh with the whole Epstein thing. That's why we're doing this now, because everybody sees the Epstein files, but they don't get to hear anybody's story. You don't get to hear the full details of what's going on. But she will tell you her story, which is basically the same as what everybody went through with Epstein. So what you hear with her, you can take that to Epstein too. She's going to tell her story tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Eastern, right here, and it's going to be very interesting. Make sure you guys do not miss that. Okay, Jay, let's switch gears for a second. I want to talk about something that you and I mean, you found this right here, and it is so interesting right here. Okay, so Kristi Noem, apparently, now you guys are going to find this shocking, actually. There are employees that work for the government that, one, the government doesn't even know about, and two, they do things that the government doesn't even know about, even though they work for the government. Kristi Noem recounts a story where she walked by a door. Someone walked by a door, went and just decided to go in there, and they found people in this door with secret files that nobody knows about, nobody has ever seen, and they're secret files that have to do with everything that's going on right now, not just the Epstein thing, but many other things, Jay. It's mind-blowing. And then she talks about how her own employees hacked her computer. They put on software to see what she was doing. Her subordinates at the DHS, Jay.
Yeah, basically they walk by a door and somebody finally opens it and it's a skiff. Like, wait, what?
Yep. It's a skiff that has secret files in there that nobody knew about. Nobody, not the DHS, not the president. Nobody knew about this, Jay. Let's play this real quick for everybody. I want everybody to hear this, because this is crazy.
I can't believe what I found since I've been in this department. I just found the other day a whole room on this campus that was a secret SCIF, secure facility, that had files nobody knew existed. So we just happened to have an employee walk by a door and wonder what it was and started asking questions. We went in there. There was individuals working there that had secret files that nobody knew about on some of these most controversial topics. Like,
do you hear that? She said there were individuals in this door that had secret files that nobody knew about that were all about these controversial topics that are going on in the country today.
And now I've got that turned over to attorneys, and we're getting to the bottom of what exactly happened there.
It's luckily she found that. She did get those files, but wait till you hear this. There's something even more insane. I want you guys to take a listen to this.
They had done that to several of the politicals.
Wow.
It helped me identify that some of my own employees in my department had downloaded software on my phone and my laptop to spy on me.
Stop it.
To record our meetings.
Wow.
They had done that to several of the politicals.
Wow.
And so we ended up bringing in people, and that was something that if you didn't have those technology experts here in the
Unbelievable.
department looking at all of our laptops and our phones and recognizing that kind of software, it would still be happening today. So
That right there is unbelievable. I mean, we're talking about subordinates at the DHS, and not just the DHS. She said it was happening to all the political people. So you're talking about subordinates at the DHS, subordinates at the HHS, subordinates at HUD, subordinates, for the Secretary of Treasury, for the Department of Education. I mean, it is unbelievable. They are spying on her. They put spy software on their computers to record their Zoom meetings. But I want to know, Jay, what were they doing that for? And who were they doing that for?
Exactly. I mean, they're basically here's your work phone. Ready? Here you go. Here's your work phone. Oh, well, yeah. Unbeknownst to you, that work phone has software on it where we can spy on you 24/7, 365 and know exactly who you're talking to, what you're saying to them, everything. They basically have the keys to your life, your work life, and maybe even your private life, because it wouldn't surprise me if somebody got into to their own phones too. But this is
Who
insane.
was the head, though? That's the thing.
Well,
who are they giving this information to?
I don't know. That's the $1 million question. Like,
Mhm.
who's the person who tasked these people? Who's their boss? Because they didn't come up with
Exactly.
this on their own.
No.
Who's the boss of the people that Kristi Noem didn't even know worked for her, technically, quote unquote?
Yeah, the file people too.
Where are these people now? That would be my next question. Okay, where are these so-called employees now after you discovered them in this skiff behind this door that nobody would? They think it was a broom closet. I mean,
Probably
somebody
so, yeah.
finally opened it. Where are these employees now? Who's questioning them? They said they got attorneys involved. For me, these people aren't going home. They're going to be sleeping on campus until we know exactly what the hell's going on with them. Like you said, who hired them, who tasked them with this, all of it has got to be known. But again, is that something that could even be found out? Is that something that they will be allowed to find out? Or do these people simply disappear now? I don't know.
Yeah, I have no idea. And I think they would probably disappear, those type of people. That's why you don't see them on trial. That's why she didn't talk about who they were or who they were working for. They
CBP.
probably...
It was Customs Border Patrol. That's what, U.S. citizens, right.
But they probably...
Right, who they might be working for, quote unquote, CBP, but are they?
No. Who are they working for with the secret files? Right. One, because they had secret files that their bosses didn't know about. Kristi Noem didn't know about those secret files, so they might be working for CBP, but they're not working for CBP. Okay, they are working for whoever the hell they're giving those files to. Okay, they're working for whoever the hell is collecting those files, because those files were, I mean, I guarantee you they interrogated those people, and then they might have even disappeared them. They probably already found out who was the boss behind this. But let me tell you, the more important thing, the files are incredible, one thing, but even the more important thing is the fact that they actually put software on these people's computers to spy on every single thing that they did. Now, that right there, the files are one thing, and it's huge, don't get me wrong, but the spy software tells me that they're planning something, okay? You don't just try to get what somebody's doing. You don't, and it's not just Kristi Noem. They were doing it to a lot of the upper echelon political people. So that tells you right there that they're planning something, because you don't want to get all this information for no reason. I mean, that information helps you in your endeavors. That's why you get the information. So they are planning, whoever it is planning something, Jay.
Well, think about this too. Now, remember the thing with the signal chat with the Department of War, with Pete Hegseth, and with Waltz, and why Waltz had to be then removed and whatever. To me now, that's like, did somebody install that reporter into that signal chat? Like, how does that happen? We all question, like, how the hell does this guy get into this signal chat while they're discussing, attacks on the Houthis and all the other? How does that happen? By accident? It doesn't happen by accident. Somebody put him in there, or did somebody just? You start thinking, like, if they could do this, if they can get it, like, put software into Kristi Noem's phone or Pete Hegseth's phone, or what can't they do? What about Arctic Frost? Right? Wasn't that the whole thing that the senators are flipping out about? Was Jack Smith was basically spying on them, had subpoenaed their records and all this stuff. there's so many nefarious things going on behind the scenes with our government and the people like Christy Nolan. She's the head of the department, and she had no clue that this door was there and that these people even existed.
Okay, I gotta clear something up here. Okay,
Go ahead.
There is a person in the comments on Rumble,
Yeah,
who says right here, says, when Jack talks about things, he just assumes that what he's telling us is true, and I know Clarence Thomas would not have gone there. She said she knows Clarence Thomas would not. So she obviously knows Clarence Thomas and knows his every movement, is what she's saying. So that's what she's saying. And she's saying that I'm lying. I'm assuming bullshit. Okay. So let me show you something. Yeah, apparently. So I'm going to show you something. Everything that I say, the things that I find are not lies. Okay. I don't put out lies. I don't put out fake shit. So let me show you right here. Okay, Clarence Thomas was apparently on the guest list of some of these things. You see that right there? You see who that is right there? Okay, that's Clarence Thomas. All right, and it says right here that Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas rumored to be frequent guests.
Wait, where do you see it, Jack? On the screen right now, I just see a picture of the owl with the redwood.
Why is it not moving then? That's weird. Okay, here, share this tab. Here you go.
There you go.
That's Clarence Thomas right there. This is the article right here. Super secretive Bohemian Grove Society members allegedly leaked at Who's Who of Celebrity Revealed. That's Clarence Thomas. Clarence Thomas, frequent guests. Okay? Yeah. That's where you get your information, is from news and other places. I didn't assume that he was there. No. I swear, people just, it's unbelievable. Yes, it's rumored. But see, I'm not assuming that he was there. I'm going by this. He's rumored to have been a guest there. Yes, he is rumored to have been a guest there. But I didn't assume he was there. I didn't just say, hey, I bet Clarence Thomas goes there. What?
No, you didn't grab Clarence Thomas's name out of thin air.
I know. Right? People, it's unbelievable, man.
Yeah, no, I'm actually surprised that he's even rumored to be there, but he is. It's what it is.
Believe me, if I would have seen that, and I would have never thought Clarence Thomas would be there. I mean, Clarence Thomas is one of our favorite people. But I mean, it says he's rumored to be a frequent guest. Now, does that mean for sure? Of course not. But I didn't just pull his name out of thin air. And Clarence Thomas is not one of the names I would have ever said with Bohemian Grove. I don't understand why people think we assume shit. You know what I mean? No. Everything that we find is stuff that is, it's out there. It's there. It's not, I'm not just making up shit off the top of my head here.
No. And you know what they say? Assumption is the mother of all F-ups. We don't do
that. Well,
that.
Also, they say if you assume, you make an ass out of you and me.
Correct.
That's how you spell assume. ASSUME. You make an ass out of you and me. We don't assume shit because we don't want to make an ass out of you and me.
No, absolutely. So no, that's 100% true. We didn't assume it. It's right there in black and white.
Anyways, I'm sorry. That just things bother me from time to time, So I just wanted to check it out.
We're paying attention to the chats, and we will address stuff in the chats, and we love everybody commenting in the chats. Keep going. Give us some good stuff. Let's go.
Exactly. Well, see, and she said, I didn't say you pulled his name out of thin air, but she said, I assumed. She said, I made an assumption. No. I didn't make an assumption. I said what was there on the print. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
Now, if they had his picture there and I didn't say that he was, rumored to be a frequent guest, then I would have made an assumption. I would have said, look, it's Clarence Thomas. He goes there just because his picture there. That's an assumption. But when they tell you he's rumored to be a frequent guest, that tells you right there that that's not an assumption. That's something that I got from them. Anyways, let's move on. It just shows you that we are paying attention to the chats. In Rumble, we're paying attention to the chats here. If you go to X, pretty much any one of them, even Kick actually comes up here on our screen here. So, we try to pay attention to all the chats, even while we're doing the show. It makes it more fun, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree.
So, Jay, that's crazy about the Kristi Noem thing, though. I can't believe, how is this not national news also? I mean, this woman, they were spying on upper echelon politics, the people that run the country, spying on them.
Well, it's funny you should say that, Jack, because as we go through the show, I look at stuff. I'll look at Breitbart and stuff, and now the top story on Breitbart is the cover story is Kristi Noem. Deep state officials bugged my phone computer. Elon Musk helped reveal spying. secret files found inside DHS headquarters is now the top story on Breitbart's website. There you go.
Yeah, and that's good though. It's good that it's out there because it needs to be out there, man. That's
100%.
something that's got to be out there because that's not. We can't let that kind of stuff happen in America. I can't believe that. I mean, you would think that the computer of the head of the DHS would be untouchable, that nobody would be able to get to that computer. But somebody got to it and uploaded that software. That should tell you how many people have access to her computer. Not many. Probably just the IT people. So that narrows it down right there. They probably already know who did it.
Not only that, do you realize the clearance you need to get access?
My
Oh my God. I mean, the amount of like checks you have to go through just to be an IT person that has access to those files, or people at that level with their phones or their laptops or whatever they're using. The amount of checks. I just found it the most interesting thing to me about this story so far. And I hope it turns into a big story. I mean, it seems like it's starting to get some traction. Is we walked by a door and somebody finally looked behind it. Like, what did it say on the outside of this door?
Janitorial. It probably said janitor on the door. If they're smart, it would say janitor on the door.
Right. Nobody would bother to look. Like I said, was it a broom closet or something? Maybe it was a door that had another door behind it. I don't know. That's possible.
Well, I'll tell you something else, Jay. We have another big story out there that most people don't know about. I want you to take a look at this. This is huge right here, okay? Data Republican is a very smart person, all right? She's on X, and she has a lot of good stuff. So check this out. This is a bombshell dossier that details sweeping corruption by Illinois Democrat Governor J.B. Pritzker, including quid pro quo deals, fraud, lawfare. He bankrolled a convicted felon. He ignored child abuse reports, and he has ties to the Epstein family. J.B. Pritzker is the equivalent of a hot potato right now. Nobody would want to touch this man. This right here is incredible, and it's all thanks to Data Republican finding all this stuff. She's got all the receipts here. I mean, you should see some of this stuff. He said black politicians, well, they're acceptable for a Senate seat. This is some of the stuff he's talking about. It says the Pritzker Group venture capital in 2017 heavily invested in the Chicago health tech firm. Later that year, Wall Street Journal reported that 3 employees at Outcome had misrepresented information to advertising clients. It's a way to get money, right? To get advertising money, you misrepresent information. Outcome was forced to settle and give investors a controlling equity stake valued at hundreds of millions of dollars. After having already settled in 2020, Pritzker helped federal prosecutors go after the company's founders on trumped up criminal charges. So he weaponized the lawfare that we talked about, okay? And then thanks to his meddling in 2023, the founders of Outcome Health were tried again by Biden's DOJ after the DOJ illegally seized millions from them and forced them to hire the cheapest lawyers they could because they had no money. If you guys want to check this out, go to Data Republican. It's at Data Republican on X. She's got all the receipts. And I got to say, after seeing this man is absolutely done. I want you to check some. J.B. Pritzker, who is worth $3.6 billion because of his family, had the toilets removed from his Chicago mansion. So that way he could dodge a $331,000 property tax bill. This man is worth $3.6 billion. So what did he do? He removed all the toilets out of his mansion. So it would be worth 10 times less. And that way he wouldn't have to pay $331,000 in property tax, Jay. This guy is the worst of the worst.
Usually works that way. The ones with the biggest mouths, and in this case, the biggest stomachs, are usually the worst ones. J.B. Pritzker is the one who talks about President Trump all the time. He's one of the biggest outspoken critics of President Trump. And usually the people that do that the most are projecting. And that is exactly what J.B. Pritzker appears to have done. He's corrupt as the day is long, involved with all the wrong people, doing all the wrong things. Like you just said, look at that. Let me find this loophole where if I remove the toilet bowls, I'll save $331,000 on my taxes. Wait a minute. You don't want to pay taxes, J.B. Pritzker? You just want to overtax everybody else, pay for all your social programs and all your virtue signaling garbage. So once again, I do find it interesting thing though, Jack, that a lot of this stuff comes out on certain people when they start running for president. Isn't that true?
Exactly. I mean, he's
JB
not
Pritzker
exactly running for president, but he never will run for anything
to.
again. Why
He
is he
wants
not
to.
resign? Why is Tim Walz not resign? You know, back in the day, these people would have to resign, Jay. Now they can continue to do whatever the hell they want until now they probably won't be able to run again, but they can continue to do whatever the hell they want till their term is over. Nobody has any shame anymore. See, this is the thing. They used to get people to resign because of all their stuff. You know, they used to, shame them out of office. Either that or they would get charged with something. A, they never get charged with anything anymore. And B, they don't have shame anymore. So nobody leaves office, no matter how horrible the things they have done. Nobody leaves a governor's office. That's why Tim Walz hasn't left. That's why JB Pritzker won't leave. No matter what their crimes are, they will continue to commit them. They will continue to stay governor, Jay. That's what's happening here. Nobody is removed. And the impeachment process is so difficult because if you have a governor that's a Democrat, it's 99 times out of 100, you're going to have a state legislature that's a Democrat. Okay. And they're not going to remove that governor.
Well, I have one word to answer your question. Why aren't they resigning? Democrat. That's why.
Exactly.
And
that's also
that simple.
That's also why they're not being removed is Democrat.
Yeah, exactly. If they were Republicans, they would have been probably forced to resign. And I saw something interesting today. Somebody posted, we love all this stuff getting exposed. When is somebody actually going to get arrested? When is somebody actually going to be removed? Or, this again, JB Pritzker, it seems like we got a lot of stuff that's been exposed here. Any criminal activity involved with any of this? If there is, can he please be charged?
Oh, there's more than enough. Check this out. So, his wife had workers remove those toilets out of his house, make the house uninhabitable to get the tax break. Then they put the toilets back in after inspection. Federal investigators opened a probe in 2019. No charges were filed. Now get this. The Pritzker administration later gave the contractors who removed those toilets for him so he could get the tax break $9 million COVID-19 Army Corps contract.
That's quid pro quo.
That is a quid pro quo if I've ever seen one.
We just said the same exact thing at the same exact time. It's quid pro quo. Are you kidding
me?
I mean, well, U.S. citizen Tony Gonzalez. We'll call him out right now. If what he did is true, resign, Tony Gonzalez. See, there's the difference. I would say to a Republican, you did this stuff, resign. But Democrats never call for the death of one of their own. And when I say death, I mean political death. They never, ever. Very, very rarely. You have to be a Bob Menendez, basically caught twice with gold bars in your pocket before you'll have some Democrats and actually call for your resignation and call for your political scalp.
He didn't even resign then. He did not even resign. He did not resign, I think, until he was convicted. Yeah, they will not leave.
No, they won't leave. And Democrats never throw their own under the bus. They just don't.
Never.
Never. See, I will say if Tony Gonzalez, if this stuff is true about what he did with this girl.
Oh, it's true. That is a sick fuck right there, man.
Then
Tony Gonzalez is a sick fuck.
Then gone. Resign. Get lost. We'll find somebody that isn't a total dirtbag to replace you. I mean, that's that simple to me. But because I was always held to a high standard because of my profession. And I think that politicians should be held to an even higher standard than I was held to. Because you're representing everybody. You were elected into office. People put their trust in you to a level where they gave you a vote. And you're not, as a cop, you're enforcing laws that the legislature makes. You're giving somebody the power to make laws, to actually make the laws that can restrict your freedom. To me, those people should be held to a standard that's beyond reproach. And if you screw up, you should be out. And if you screw up and are found criminally liable, you should serve the maximum sentence. These people, seems like you just said, Jack, it's gone in reverse. They get caught and zero happens to them. In fact, they actually use it to their advantage in some cases to make their name come out more. Look at Gavin Newsom. How much has this guy done wrong? How much money's been stolen under his watch?
Oh, my God.
It's ridiculous.
And they're supposed to be the best of us. They're supposed to represent America.
Right.
And I'm not just talking about for voting and stuff like that. I'm talking about in behavior, in stature. They're supposed to represent America.
Correct. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. The standard should be the highest of standards for these people. And instead, It's the opposite of that at this point. It's really, we're in a bad place right now. And the bad place is because it's tribal. It's become tribal. With Democrats, they'll never throw one under the bus. I don't want Republicans to become that. But at the same time, it's like, how do we fight back?
They don't fight fire with fire. That's the worst part. They won't fight fire with fire. I mean, and it pisses me off.
Listen, they had George Santos, and I'm not saying that George Santos shouldn't have paid a price for what he did, but Republicans couldn't get George Santos out of office fast enough. They
threw him under the bus as fast as they possibly could. Now, I don't give a damn about George Santos, but it shows you their mindset. And
right.
Jay, I'm glad you brought up Tony Gonzalez, because I want to talk about him for a second. You know, before we go, I want to talk about him for a second. No, people that don't know about this, okay? Tony Gonzalez is a representative. I forget what state he's from. Do you remember what state he's from?
If I'm going to say Texas, am I crazy?
No, you're right. He's a Republican from Texas. But get this. He says he's not going to resign despite the revelations about his sexual text messages with one of his aides. But get this, okay? This is what happened, okay? He started texting his aide. He started texting her sexual things. She said, "Hey, it's going too far. I don't want to do this. It's going too far." And then, eventually her husband found these texts and thought they were having an affair. He thought they were having an affair, so he was going to divorce her. So guess what? She was so depressed, she set herself on fire. This woman right here set herself on fire. This is her right here. She set herself on fire, and that is how she died, because she was so depressed after her husband was going to leave her, because she thought he was cheating on her with Tony Gonzalez. And so Tony Gonzalez is the reason for their divorce. He's the reason that she's dead. And he came on to a congressional aide, pressured her, and made her feel like she was only hired because she was hot and because he wanted to have sex with her. This, again, right here, he's a Republican. And I'm on the right side, but he's one of the worst too. This guy is a snake. And I got to tell you, how many of these people are in politics? It seems like most of them are snakes. J.B. Pritzker, Gavin Newsom, you got Tim Walz, you got Tony Gonzalez, you got Bob Mendez, George Santos, Nancy Pelosi, Mitch McConnell, Lindsey Graham. Where does it stop, Jay?
It doesn't stop. And I think that Nancy Mace and Boebert, and maybe it's even Massey, they're putting legislation forward to make the slush fund, I believe the $18 million public, taxpayer funded slush fund. They want that public. Matt Gaetz, that's another good one.
Why are we paying for their, so get this, okay? So now this guy did a sexually harassed his congressional aide and eventually led to her suicide by setting herself on fire, which is the worst possible way you can die, by the way. When you set yourself on fire, you're alive for a good 60 seconds. Now, I know that doesn't sound like a long time, but like I said, if you take a lighter, put it to your thumb, try doing that for 60 seconds. Imagine your entire body feeling that kind of pain. You can't do it for 5 seconds. Forget 60. And this woman was so depressed, that's how she chose to die. That is horrific. But let me tell you, Jay, the slush fund you were talking about, why do we have that? We've got these congressional people. That means that it's a regular thing that congressmen and congresswomen are sexually harassing or doing sexual things with their aides. They hire them. It's a known secret that they hire a lot of their aides for sexual purposes. And then if they get in trouble, all the aide has to do is say, "Hey, I'm going to sue you." And they say, "No, here's some of the taxpayer money. Here's 500 grand. They don't care. It's taxpayer money. So Jay, imagine you're a congressman. You have free reign to sexually harass any of the aides that you want to. And hey, if they have sex with you, you're like, "Yay, that's great." If they don't, you continually to sexually harass them until either they kill themselves or they sue you, in which case you just give them gobs of money from a taxpayer slush fund. How is this happening in America in 2026? What is this?
I have a feeling that they'll vote to expose this slush fund.
You really believe that?
Maybe around the same time they'll vote for term limits. Which
there you go. Now I believe that they'll vote to expose themselves about the same time they'll vote to make it to where they can't keep their job for the rest of their lives.
Exactly. But here's the problem, right? I can understand it shouldn't be taxpayer funded. But now I understand that false allegations are made. That happens. We know that happens, right? Not every allegation is true. A lot of them are not true. They're used as revenge or whatever other reason. We know this. Now, that's why the Me Too movement was so detrimental, because it turned everything into a major lawsuit where money, how much money did it cost you to get rid of those allegations, Jack, they'll destroy your life. Now,
yes, they will.
Right. But if you
that's why you can get money for them. It's easy to get money. If you're a congressional aide, hell, people have aspirations, Jay, of just being a congressional aide just so they can sue the person, get the money, and then retire.
That's the problem. See, it's kind of a double-edged sword. Yeah, we want the people who are actually doing the sexual harassment, who are doing this type of stuff, like Gonzalez, to pay a price. Not only,
but not money. They need to go to jail.
No, that's what I mean. Not only should it cost him civilly, this should probably cost some kind of criminal. Like he drove this woman. Apparently, I'm not assuming, but from what we know, it looks like his actions drove this woman to the point where you said she decided to kill herself in the worst possible way. Now, I get that happens, and it's such a weird thing. It's such a slippery slope where we can't have false allegations and it's her truth or his. No, there's the truth. We want to get down to the truth. That's the problem. If we get back to that basic common sense premise, a lot of this other stuff will take care of itself. But regardless, we shouldn't be paying for it as taxpayers, and people like Gonzalez should be out.
What I don't understand is at this day and age, it's 2026 in America. Why is it so hard to just get rid of these people? Why are there so many obstacles? I mean, okay, so this person sexually harassed his aide until she killed herself. Get rid of him. He can no longer. I mean, why can't you just remove them immediately? Why does it have to be where you have to have this vote for this committee, then this vote for this hearing, then this vote for this to be able to remove somebody? There should be clauses where if somebody is actually convicted of this or, convicted of that, they should have to be removed immediately. I mean, this right here, let's say this was a false allegation, right? He should still be suspended. He should be suspended until an investigation is over, because a lot of times it's not going to be a false allegation. So that person needs to be suspended, and they don't need to be convicted for something. I think that if there's an allegation, they should be suspended. There should be an investigation. If Congress finds out that there was something here, even if he's not criminally charged because they just settled in a lawsuit, he should be removed. It should be easy to do that kind of stuff, Jay. We're supposed to be a moral society, yet we have nothing but snakes and devils leading America.
I'll tell you how you kind of maybe can stop some of this and maybe make it make sense. If you make a false allegation against somebody of this nature, and it turns out to be proven false,
any false allegation of anybody,
you should serve the sentence of the thing you alleged. How about that?
You should.
Okay, maybe that'll stop some of this. And I tend to agree with you where if an allegation this serious is made, and this is more than an allegation now, we have text messages back and forth.
Oh yeah, no, this happened.
Right, we have proof here. But if an allegation like this happened when I was at work, I would have been suspended.
You should be. You should be, even if it's false. Yeah, even if it's false, you should be, just because there has to be an investigation. You can't just, because a lot of times it's not false.
True, but at the same time, I want to try to balance it to make it where if somebody makes a false allegation, they got to pay a price, and they got to pay a big one, because this destroys people's lives, and you never get your reputation back. Even after it's deemed false, there's always people that are going to look at you with the side eye. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, it should be like a level 2 felony, okay?
Yeah.
And I don't know about the same amount of time that they would have got, because sometimes, if you cause somebody of rape, that could be like 25 to life in some states. But I would say you should get, there should be like a mandatory minimum if you do a false allegation and it's actually proven to be false, not something that they can't prove that happened.
If you're Jussie Smollett,
yes, but it has to be proven. I'm not talking about something where you have an allegation, but there's no evidence to prove that it happened. No, I'm talking about where they can prove that you planned this and it's false. Right. You should get a mandatory minimum. 3 years in prison minimum.
Yeah, I agree. Something has to be there to deter it, because these types of allegations, when they're not true, will destroy somebody's life and reputation forever. They never recover from it. And and it's such a slippery slope. And this was treated so cavalierly during Me Too. That's a huge problem.
Yeah, Me Too caused a lot of problems, Jay.
They are really disgusting people too.
But I will say that most of the time, I'd say 99% of the time in Congress, the allegations are true. Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
it's all, I mean, that's why they have the slush fund. It is so rampant in Congress. That is why they have the slush fund, Jay. Now we got to get going. Unfortunately, time is out, but we did solve all the problems we could for one day, Jay. So for Jay Gatling, I am Jack Danger. Thank you for watching Secret America.
You've been listening to Secret America.